Hi YouTube, I'm Bubba. If you have been following me, then you will know that it is seed planting time. So I wanted to bring you along with me as I start my seed planting this year. Also, if you've been following me, you can kind of see how I've done things from week to week. I've taken you on this garden journey for about the past month. So we started with, while it's important to sample our soil and amend it, and then we looked at different types of seeds and what would probably work best for your garden. We also went over a good way to store the seeds, and then we went over the planting calendar. And I sent you to a site that all you have to do is put in your zip code and it will pretty much give you your planting calendar. Now, to find the site, I'll try and remember to link it below, but it is on my blog. My blog is one, like the number one, blessedbubba.com. And it goes into detail about why I call it Blessed Bubba, and also step by step, the whole soil amendment, type seeds, just different things. So I encourage you to go to that. Sign up for the email list if you want. Also, I can be found on Instagram at @OneBlessedBubba, and also there's a Facebook page. And this is just so hopefully we can go on this gardening journey together. I don't know everything. This is just what I've learned just from my grandfather, just people that have helped me along the way. I am a mom of 4, and we are on one income, so we have learned to garden frugally, and I guess out of necessity. And this is just kind of how it's, rolled along. So here we are, and every year, I learn a little bit more, and so hopefully we can do this together. Now, in the last video, I went over a seed starting soil or seed starter recipe, and it was very easy, very economical. So if you want more information on that, just go back to the last video, or I will also put the recipe in my blog. So now that I have my seed starter, I'm just going to walk you through how I plant my seeds. Now, I keep my seed starter in a tub. It is 3 simple ingredients. So it's peat moss, it's perlite, and vermiculite, I think is how you say it. And it's 1 part of each, and then I just mix it and add water until it just resembles like a wet sand, like you would build a sandcastle with. And so when you get ready to put this in your little pots, you just want it to have that, I guess, moist consistency. So mine does. I just watered it. And what I usually start with is a little 6-pack seed pot. These are some that I've saved from last year. Also, family gives them to me. Neighbors give them to me. So I have a ton of these. And I just wipe them out and store them down here in my garden bench. So I have my pot. I have my soil. I need my seeds. Now, this is the seed saving system that we went over last time. And I have a box just for my pepper seeds. And in it are a few seeds that I've saved from last year's seeds. There's some banana peppers that did really well, bell peppers. One thing that did not do well from last year's seed was jalapeno peppers. So I'm going to try another variety, another company. This is Southern Exposure Seed Exchange, just your basic jalapeno hot pepper. We use these a lot. We make something called cowboy candy, and we also pickle them. We dry them. We make really good salsa, so we love our jalapeno peppers. Now, jalapeno peppers are just extremely small. You may even want to pour them out on a little piece of paper before you get ready to plant. So they're tiny. Let me put these back in here for a minute. I don't want to lose even one. Now, with any seed, you want to plant it at a depth that is 4 times the size of the seed. So you saw how tiny that seed was. So I'm only going to cover it with a tiny bit of I guess seed starter, or there's something else I'm going to use I'll show you in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my seed starting mix in. It's very important that you use this and not potting soil, potting mix, or garden soil because it's way too dense. It has different organisms in it that can just kill your seeds. Their little roots need this very light mix to grow in. And also, they don't need fertilizer. They don't need any nutrients because everything they need is in that tiny seed until their first true leaves pop out. And that's the leaves that come out of the main stem. So for a long time, they're fine. They have everything that they need. Here's a Labrador rolling around on the dirt in here, and he's very noisy, so you just ignore him. Now what I like to do is I like to just get my seed. I'm going to put one in each pot. You can do two if you want. If your seed is a couple of years old, I would definitely put 2 seeds in each pot just because they may not sprout as good once they're a year old. But I'm just going to do one. These should be pretty quality seeds. I like this company because they get a lot of heirloom seeds from farms, and all the heirlooms have to be at least 50 years old to be considered an heirloom, so you know it's tried and true. Now I could cover this with my seed starter mix, but what I use is my perlite, and I'm just going to grab this out. I have this because I've used it in my seed starter mix. I also use it in my potting mix. And I'm just going to cover this with what is 4 times my seed height. Now you can do full perlite, or you can cover it half with your mix and then half with the perlite. Now the reason that you're using this is because it's going to let your light through. Also, it's going to help retain that moisture on top of your seed. Now, I don't leave my seeds in the greenhouse right away because it's a pretty new greenhouse. We've had it for about a year. We built it when my husband was laid off during the pandemic, so I got that out of the pandemic. But it still gets pretty cold at night, and we just have not found a way to keep that heat in. So I don't bring my seeds out here until about mid-March or the end of March when it's not as cold at night. Now, where I like to keep my seeds is on top of my refrigerator because it's warm, it still gets sunlight. I also keep some of them in front of a window, on a table. So there's just different places that you can put it. You just want to have them somewhere where you can keep an eye on them. Now to mimic a greenhouse, this is what I do. Let me see if I can find it. What I do is I take a little piece of my Glad press and seal and I cut it to the length or the little shape of my little seed tray. And I'm just going to poke a few holes in it just so it can get air. And I'm going to just place it on top of my seed tray. And I'm just going to press it and I'm going to seal it. And this is going to mimic a greenhouse. And I'm just going to keep this on here until I see the first little bit of green pop out. And at that point, what I'll do is I'll just take it off and then I'll just let it get air as it keeps growing. But until that green pops through, I'm keeping that on there. Now, to keep your soil moist, what I do is you can have like a tray to go at the bottom, or I got this at the Dollar Tree and I have some saved from last year too. It's just an aluminum cookie sheet. I'm just going to put this on my cookie sheet and I'm just going to place some water in it until I notice that the top of the seeds are moist. And at that time, I'm just going to let it, sit. I'm not going to add more water until it looks dry again, and then I'm going to add a little bit more. I like this because the water is coming in through the bottom of your tray. I find that when you water it from the top, even if you use a mister, a little spray bottle, turkey baster, especially like a cup or something, that's a no-no. It displaces my seeds, and it's not good for the roots. So if the water is coming in from the bottom, it's much better for your seeds and your young plants. So this is my system that I use. If the plants are ready to go in the garden and the garden is not ready, it's too cold for whatever reason, or there's roots coming out of the bottom, you don't want that. It's time to move it into something bigger. So what I will do is I will just take a seed pot, and I could do seed starter mix. It would be fine. But I like to just do a potting mix. And I have a recipe for that too that I'll link below. But I just very carefully will take that little plant, baby plant, and I will plant it in here. And I'll actually keep some of the seed starter around it if I can. And you want it to remain moist just so your poor little roots are not going into shock, you know, when they come into that dry soil. So you'll put your little plant in there, and then you'll just cover it with your potting mix. You just keep that, you know, watered. You could even keep it in your tray. It makes it easier, and it's a lot less time consuming if you just have it somewhere where you can see it. And then it can just stay in here until it's ready to go into your garden or another pot. And if you just put the word out there, I have so many of these just from neighbors and gardening friends. So it's amazing when people find out just that you're gardening. I could do a whole other video on just things that have been given to me that have just been wonderful that maybe they don't use anymore. So good luck starting your seeds. If you are in zone 7B, it's about time to get those peppers and those eggplants in. So happy gardening, friends. Be blessed. Come visit me at my blog. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, all the things. And I hope that you have a great week.